So I got this chess computer the other day. It's a talking chess computer. We've got it set to... It came with batteries and everything. Second hand, of course. I'm going to play a game as white, I think. Just for ease of demonstrating the machine. What are you thinking? Oh, he's not thinking. He says e7 to e6. Okay, I've got 30 seconds now to move, which is I like. I normally play chess with the 30 seconds. I'm going to push on. This is how I would normally play against a human player. Thinking. It's a bit hard to see the display because of the angle of the shadow here, but b8 to c6. So b8, that's that knight. To c6, and now I've got 30 seconds to think. He's attacking that pawn. I can defend it with another pawn, but I've got to be a bit careful because that knight can also attack that pawn, which is now only defended by the queen, and we don't want really the queen to be coming out this early in the game. So, got to be a bit careful. Be a bit careful. I might want to bring this knight out next that will defend both of those. f8 to... what's that? b4. Did you hear that? He said check. Okay, so, well, I can either parry with my bishop, but if I parry with the bishop, you see, like that, I'll no longer be defending this pawn with my queen. So, instead I will parry with a pawn so that I'm attacking at the same time as parrying. And now I've got a nice chain of pawns, what we call a pawn chain there. Now he's thinking, black is thinking. He's on level 30. There's 72 levels on this. It's a Kasparov talking chess academy. Marks and Spencer branded version, but it's it's made by a company called Ryo. What's it called? Ryu. RYU, I think. Which sounds Japanese. b4 to e7. b4. So now what I've done is I've made black waste a move, because that bishop could have moved to that square in one. Now it's done it in two. So it's gained me what we call tempi. But I've got to be careful. My position's rather open. My king is a little on the vulnerable side, so I'm going to start to prepare to castle by moving this out next. This knight here, which also does that defending of the pawns we were talking about. And I'm going to think about moving this bishop into that hole next, because otherwise that knight's going to be pinned on the queen, and it won't be able to defend those pawns if it comes to it. So he's thinking. He is thinking. d7 to d5. It has beaten me a few times on this level that I like this level that I play it on. Okay, d7 to d5, moving the pawn there, and I can actually take it as if it only moved one square. That's called taking en passant, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep this as a closed game because I like playing a classical closed game, and I'm going to actually use my bishop here, my light square bishop, to pin his knight to his king. And if he tries to drive it away by moving a pawn forward, I'll just take the knight, and that's going to mess up his pawn structure horribly. It will give him an extra pawn in the centre, sort of, but it's going to give him a weak, isolated pawn on this side here. So if he tries to drive it away by using that pawn, we'll see what happens. He might try to parry it by putting his bishop into that hole there. He says c8 to d7. Yes, he does the bishop move. So now what I want to do is I want to either reinforce that bishop with something else. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to move this pawn up. There's actually quite a lot of different ways you could deal with this situation. I could retreat that bishop the same way he retreated his, but I don't want to lose a move. I'm almost ready to castle. He's still got some work to do to castle. That bishop's now preventing his queen from getting out of the way so he can castle queen's side. He's got to get this knight out to castle king's side, but my pawn is stopping the knight from coming out to a good square. It's got to come to here. Can't come to that bishop square. So he's a little bit behind. He's very behind now. So this game's going to be all about tempi, all about having the move. And look how much of the board I'm controlling. if I talk too much though. So yeah, so his knight comes out to this edge square, which is not ideal for him. And I'm going to take it, actually. That's a golden opportunity. He has to recapture. Camera stopped there, don't know where. Okay, g7 takes h6. g7 takes h6. Now it's my turn, so I've messed that up nicely. So he's kind of got to castle queens. I think I have to castle kingside. I don't really have a choice, but yeah, I've got to. I can't keep my king in the middle, which is also an option sometimes. But queenside is now so weak now because of using that pawn there to protect that bishop. So what are you going to do, black? What are you going to do? He's going to castle. He's not going to castle. He is castling kingside. Good heavens. Now it's telling me to move the rook, you see. Wow. Okay. This might be... Okay, I think I have to move my king. What colour bishop have I got? I've got the light square bishop. I can very easily swing that back at the drop of a hat. I'm going to push this pawn forward here to kind of crack it open in the middle. I need to get the attack in early now. Look, he's really cramped here. And if he doesn't take that, I could actually push forward again and really cramp up his style. You know, just push it on again. I think he wanted me to take that en passant. I think he wanted to crack open the middle there earlier on. Anyway, I've got to be careful. If I talk too much, I won't concentrate. a7 to a6. Okay, so he's attacking my bish now. So I want to Oh, yeah, he got me. Okay, I'll have to take the knight. Didn't realise I'd isolated it. So the material's even after he recaptures. I think I've got an extra pawn somehow. How's that? He's got to recapture. d7, c6. He's got to recapture. Okay, and now I'm definitely going to block that in. Definitely, I think that's really good. Just look, just blocked in like that. Just cramping his style, and his king's got no pawn in front. I've got a checking square available for my queen, right there. That's not marked by anything if I can get to it. I got him to try checkmate like this last time, I think. I've just got to get this knight out of the way to do that. And for that, I really ought to be moving the king, I think, probably. Right, what's he doing? b7 to b6, b7 to b6. He's trying to crack it open here, you see, because he doesn't like that. Now I can just reinforce that. I can just keep this going up. I'm not going to let him have that. What are you going to do, black? What are you going to do? He's doing b6 to c5. He's going to take with this. So now my decision is, do I take towards the centre, which is one of the rules of chess, or do I take away from the centre? But in this case, I'm going to take... but towards the centre gives me an isolated pawn, but he's got an isolated pawn there as well. But the point is, if I was to take towards the centre, I'd give him a passed pawn there, which is basically a pawn that could be turned into a queen. We don't want to do that, so we're just going to have this isolated pawn. I might move this rook up to this square next, although it's a bit vulnerable to that bishop potentially in the future. a8 to... what's that? a8 to b8. He's going to grab this file. That's all right. In that case, I think I'm going to get this knight over, but I'm not quite sure the best square to do it with. I think I need to now get lots of artillery over to this side, because it's going to be hard for him to do that, especially this bishop. It's kind of stuck. And then I need to really start getting my attack going on his king. Actually, what I could do is I could move this pawn forward one square and get that knight onto there. But then it's going to expose my king the same way that it exposed his king. b8 to b2. He's coming right the way down to here. I think I can simply exchange rooks. Defuse this threat. Doesn't quite do for my plan what I wanted to do, but I don't want his rook. You don't want the rooks on your second rank, your enemy rooks. That's one thing you really never want. So he's going to take it. He kind of has to. It's weakened that pawn though a bit now. I've only got this knight now looking after it, which is not really the piece I want to be looking after it, but we're going for this piece here anyway. His Majesty. Let's have a little concentrate now. I'm going to concentrate a bit more. How are we going to do this? We've only got a rook and a queen and 2 knights, and he's got 2. Oh, it's 2 knights for 2 bishops. That's kind of cool. f7 to f5. Wow, wow. The onslaught begins right now again. It's where do I put this knight? I can make a hole there, but then it can't come to here anymore. I'm gonna have to move the king. Yeah, it's got to be the king, and then put this rook over in line with his king. That's got to be the way to do this. The last game I had with him was like not dissimilar in terms of going up to there, but this one's a whole different ball game. This game. What are you going to do, black? f5 to f4. Oh, keeps pushing on. Oh gosh, this is a very, very aggressive computer. Right. Well, then we're going with this. We are going with that plan. What I don't like is his queen and bishop here. He's got these squares doubly covered all the time. I need to be trying to check him on one of these 2 squares, so I need to get my queen really back here. Here is the right spot for my queen on her original square. So now she's covering that pawn. In fact, I could actually attack that. Actually, I could go here, attack that pawn, and then come across. Right, a6 to a5. What? Oh, okay. It's almost if he saw that. One square. I'm not going to give him the option of taking it. He kind of has to take it. He's already a pawn down as it is, I believe. Or is he? Is he a pawn down? And I don't quite know how he's a pawn down, but he obviously didn't play as well as I did. But it's a pawn down. I've got 1 extra pawn. I don't know how. Can't remember now. f4 takes g3. So now I can capture with check. I think that's what I have to do. I don't think there's any other option. Let's put the plus sign there, which means check. That's the traditional chess notification for check. And of course, into the corner with him. And now I can put the rook here, and he's 1 move away from checkmate. I can take that pawn with my queen, and it'll be checkmate. The only thing he can do is maybe move this rook forward a square. That's the only real way that he can defend against that. It's a good defence, though, to be fair. h6 to h... what? What is that? H6 to H5. Oh, that pawn was there. Okay. I must have had that on the wrong square. Oh, I see. Clever, clever. Okay, but I can just take that, can't I? Isn't that check? Has something gone wrong here? Have I done something wrong? It just didn't say check. Has he moved a... I don't know, something might have gone wrong here. Maybe he did have an extra... Maybe I knocked an extra pawn off the board and he's just going to take my rook with it now. F8 to F3. Ah. Takes the knight. Yeah, but then isn't that checkmate? Checkmate. Yeah. Oh, there we are. So there we are. We've beaten the computer on level 30. An interesting game. Quite a chaotic game for a computer, if I say so myself.